What is going on, everybody? It's another Wednesday. I think this is like the fourth or fifth live in a row. Super excited to actually have some sort of consistency on the channel. I've been trying, y'all. I've been really trying to stay consistent on this channel as much as possible. But man, it's hard to stay consistent and upload videos and editing and still trying to run a business and shoot, just trying to grow the business and still have a family and do all the stuff at home that I need to do. But super glad to be here with you guys again. Another Wednesday. What is up, everybody? Make sure you give me a like, subscribe, smash that notification bell. Make sure that you do hit that notification bell so that you guys are notified when I do go live or whenever I do any new videos and stuff like that, especially when I go live for the most part, because a lot of guys are like, oh, I missed a live or whatever, and you wouldn't have missed it had you been notified, hopefully. So I know we all have things to do and we all got, our own lives, so it's kind of hard to, try to be here on Wednesdays if you can. I love it. I appreciate you guys being here for sure, because I don't like being by myself. Today, I don't have a guest, although I did have someone lined up. Unfortunately, he canceled on me, but last minute, and it was out of his control. But he's actually a good friend of mine. He will be on the channel in the next, hopefully, well, not next week. Next week, I'll be at DRS, and I'll be coming to you guys live from DRS, or DRS Con. But maybe the following week, we'll see. One of my mentors for sure. A ton of experience. Somebody I look up to, somebody I call on a regular basis who calls me. We kind of run things past each other. So anyways, he's not in this industry, so nobody knows him, but he is one very, very smart dude, ex-Wall Street turned business owner, turned successful business owner, and then bought out his biggest competition in his market. So that'll be next, probably 2 weeks from today. We'll see. What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining the live. I appreciate it. Make sure you give me a shout in the comments. Let me know that you're here watching, where you're from, and what you guys want to talk about today. Because I'm kind of just winging it today. Really, nothing much to talk about. Actually, like scheduled to talk about. Things around here have been a little slow this week. So we've had a ton of rain. We've got a ton of rain this week. Last Friday, man, I was killing it. We had a good majority of our dumpsters out. I probably had about 6 or 7 in the yard at the most, which has been the least amount of dumpsters I've had in the yard this whole winter. And then we got rain. It rained Monday. It rained Tuesday. It rained Sunday, of course, as well. We are flooded. When I talk about flooded, I saw everything that's going on in San Diego, San Francisco, something like that. Those guys are flooded pretty bad. But, yeah, I live out in the country, and dirt roads are pretty bad. So who do we got? What is going on? Brandon here for part 2 of Chinese Lady Phone Call. Chinese Lady Phone Call. Oh, man, there's no part 2 of that one. That was more than enough conversation. And I don't even know, man. It was. I edited a lot of the stuff out. I didn't lose my temper with her, but I got real snippy, man, and I try not to do that. I really do. But goodness gracious, she, short of asking me for my kids' birth certificates, what else did she, shit. To ask me for my license plates, I thought was a little excessive. Obviously the Google has all kinds of information, but what are they going to do? Run a license plate check? I don't know. To ask me for a picture of my odometer with a vehicle on. I don't know if that was just to prove that I own the vehicle or what. I don't know. You guys tell me what you guys thought of all that, but I was super frustrated. I don't even know if it came over enough in the video that I did post online, but she had me going up the wall. And the problem was, it wasn't just the conversation with her. It was the fact that I've been trying to get verified by Google, my address, for months, and I've gone through every step, jumped through every hoop, and then on top of that, I already sent them the lease agreement that she asked for, and that got rejected, and I got declined again. So anyways, long story short, we are past that. Hopefully, I don't. They don't require me to verify my address again. I got a comment, and actually, one of the suggestions I got from one of the people that I use for advertising for my AdWords was to actually go lease a virtual office or one of those shared spaces in Dallas, and that way you get a Dallas address. Um, Doable, but I didn't want to go through all that. I really didn't. I wanted to use the address of my yard, um, and uh, and yeah. So unfortunately, it took a long time, but hopefully now it's all taken care of. What is up, JJ? Thank you for joining the live feed. Anthony Shippey, what's going on, brother? Would love a hat down here in Georgia. Ooh, so this one's actually. Let me see here. Hair's not too bad. This one's not one of my. It's a little dirty back there. This one's not one of mine that has the embroidery in the back. This is one of the OG camo gray ones. I do like the hat though; it's fitted. I do plan on check this out. Now that you mention it, I do plan on. I wear grunt. I don't know about you guys or if you guys have even noticed, but I pretty much always wear grunt style shirts. I like the brand. I like the company. I do support the mission, but I also like my own stuff, right? So I've got some shirts coming out, some sweaters, and that is going to be very similar to grunt style. To what are some other ones that are like grunt style? Um, oh man, I have some shirts downstairs from them, but I barely wear them. They're veteran owned as well, but it's gonna be very similar to that style, and but it's gonna be kind of dumpster humor, patriotic related, not just dumpster, but like trash. So I've got those coming out. Hopefully next week, you guys are gonna see some on the channel, and I'm gonna throw some of these hats on the channel as well if anybody wants one. But and if you're going to DRS Con, hopefully have an order of hats coming in by then. I hope, and I'll be giving those out at DRS Con, hopefully. But anyways, I do like the hat. And it's not really dumpster related. It doesn't even say American AF dumpsters and none of that. It just has an AF because it's American as F. So that way you don't really have to be walking around with somebody else's company brand on your head. What is going on again in Georgia? Cody says need to get Clayton Roll. That would be a very good one. Matter of fact, let me text him right now. Should we put him on the spot? Let me ask Clayton. Give me 1 second, y'all. Bear with me. See if Clayton Rowe wants to come on live on the channel. All right, I just texted him. We'll see. We'll see if he answers me, if he's busy. But hopefully we get him on the channel. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see here. Contemplating starting a dumpster business here in Georgia. Man, so what's stopping you, Anthony? Have you done your research? Have you done your homework? Are you looking around? Obviously, you're here. You're at the right place at the right time. Look, at the end of the day, if you're contemplating starting any kind of business, whatever it may be, dumpsters, plumbing, construction, whatever, you got to do your homework. You got to know who your competition are. You got to know what's in your market, what's in your area, what's a going rate, all that kind of stuff. So I do too. Even though my barber doesn't think so. Well, holy crap, that responding to bent irons bins. I saw that one pop up real quick. I wanted to make sure I responded there. He must have saw that last video. But I have hair too, man. I mean, but anyways, going back, you got to do your homework, man. At the end of the day, if you're not doing your homework, you're just failing. Sorry, responding back to him. And there's no better time now to start a business. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's so much free information out there. I'm not talking about just on YouTube or just on my channel, but there's just a ton of free content, free information. Back in the day, you wanted to start a business. I mean, you got to go downtown. You got to go to your local, whatever it is, state tax office or whatever it is to find out how to get a license. You got to buy books and all kinds of stuff. And now you could just binge content online for free and do your research online. And next thing you know, you can actually learn how to start a business. So, no better time than right now to start a business. So, anyways, Maxco, what is up, man? Become a routine part of getting your kids to sleep every Wednesday night. Man. Well, that's good to hear, man. I hope we're keeping it G rated for the kids. I definitely I try that with the channel for sure. But good to hear, man. If you want me to sing them a lullaby, just shoot me a text or give me a call, and I'll sing them a little lullaby for you. And if you want me to sing you one too, I'll sing you one too, Joe. Anyways, here from Dallas. Any plans to go to Tampa at the end of March? I think we need to show some love since the Florida guys came out here. I am thinking of going. Andrew talks about Tampa, going to Tampa. So Joe is hosting a event. All right, we got Clayton coming on board. Give me 1 second. Let me get him. Let me get him a link. Let me shoot him a link real quick. So yeah, Joe is hosting a Sunday barbecue. Show him some love. There we go. Let me send him a link real quick. Now, mind you, Clayton has been on the channel before. For everybody who's in here, I don't have a window for him. I'm gonna mess with this a little bit. Give me 1 second. We're doing some invites on the go here, y'all. This is how that was not good. But yeah, he's doing a barbecue, some sort of event over there with some freebies and stuff like that. So definitely check out his channel. It's Maxco Dumpsters on YouTube. I think he just did a video just the other day on that. You might want to check that out real quick. Holy moly. Somebody put me on the spot here to invite somebody, or to invite Clayton. And now I don't even know what I'm doing. Where is it? All right. Think of some questions that you guys want to ask Clayton from Rolling Ops. He is coming on the channel here in a minute, as soon as I can figure out how to send him an invite. Oh, here we go. Invite. Copy link. And I'm going to send him an email right now. Sent. So I do have a lot of travel coming up, which is the only thing that is keeping me from committing right away. Unfortunately, right now, obviously DRSCon is at the end of this month. Actually, like next week, and then I am going to actually be going on vacation with the family in May, and my wife is having surgery sometime in between there. So got some stuff coming up, but we're trying to figure things out. So hopefully soon, or hopefully we'll figure it out and see where we got some time to go out there. Again, Bent Irons talking about my hair. What else have we got? Anthony's talking about, I've been researching for months and watching your channel, as well as some others, for at least 6 months, just trying to decide if I want to start with a trailer or truck or that MD6. All right. Well, that's a big decision to make, man. It's a, I always say, test the market first. You're going to want to make sure that you do some sort of proof of concept, right? Make sure there's a market for you. And the thing is, I always say, I had an indoor soccer facility for about 2 years, 3 years, and then I sold it. It just got too time consuming. Having an evening business, that was a very evening business, and then my day business, which was a limo company at the time. And before I spent all kinds of crazy money, I think I opened the indoor soccer facility for just about under $40,000, and I was able to do that because I did a lot of I bought all my stuff on very cheap on like Craigslist. I bought used turf. I bought because turf was super expensive. I don't know. I didn't realize it until I started it, but turf is crazy expensive. So my proof of concept was don't go out and spend all that money. We did the soccer ring, the soccer field itself out of wood. We did some acrylic, but we spent very minimally, including the lease, all that 40 G's, and we proved the concept after the first 3 to 4 months. And then after that, I went out and spent another 25,000 putting new turf, new fields, all that stuff. But proof of concept is huge. So here we go. Hold on 1 second. We got a guest here. See if I can add him. What is going on?
What's up, my man? How's it
You are
going?
live.
Am I? Talk
You
about
are,
putting me on the
man.
spot. Hang on, I'm gonna get these headphones in so I don't
All right,
cause an
let's
echo
hold
or
up.
anything.
Y'all show some love. So who asked for a Clayton? Let's see if are you still here? I hope you are. Let's see here. Cody Duvall says, "Where's Clayton?"
Oh, what's up? That's sweet. What's up, Cody? How's it going?
What's up with business, man? How you doing?
Oh, it's good, man. It's just different here. I'm getting myself situated
All right,
before
we got time.
getting it all turned off.
We got all
My
night,
wife,
man.
yeah, my wife stepped in. What's the game plan here? She
For
she took
us,
the little one and I'm good. Well, yeah, she took the good one. Or the little one. I'm good to go. Super wife stepped in.
there you go, man. Well, thank you for the channel, I guess.
Yeah, no,
Um,
thank you for bringing me on here. This is sweet.
no, man. So, how's business?
Good. It obviously adjusting the I don't know. I mean, you're down in Texas. I know it seems cold to you, but my gosh, man, this has been brutal. And I'm kind of, I rode the wave for as long as I could, but it did slow down. Um, it was a breath of relief for not only me or any, it's like you always want the business, right? It's like you always want the business just pumping.
Right,
But it got to the point where I started adding up all the maintenance things that needed to get done, and it just kind of came to the point. It's like I needed the trucks to stop moving for a minute. Um, I addressed I addressed brakes, transmissions, um, every oil and fluid you can possibly imagine in a truck. Basically, need to replace. I took
yep,
advantage of that. I really took advantage the last 3 weeks of implementing a new software, so that went well. Yep, I went with Docket,
nice.
and dude, I can't stress how silly it was for me to go so long without doing it. Like doing it my own way was the dumbest thing. Use whatever software you want, but the efficiency aspect of it, this is a game changer. And I can't imagine. I think one of the biggest things guys focus on is like they only know how to do it the way they've done it for so long.
Right,
But once you realize how inefficient you've been, it's incredible. And it's just the learning curve you get past. But I will say, I can't imagine trying to get out of the habit of what I've done in the past. If it was like July, August, September, when we're hitting it super hard, I would have been incredibly overwhelmed. So this was a really good time for me to kind of, ease into that, a couple rentals a week, got to even figure out how to do, nice leads and quotes for junk removal jobs. We've been doing a lot of junk removal jobs. Um, People still want their trash taken out or their junk taken out.
mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
When it's 5 degrees or 15 degrees below, they just change the way they do it. They're like, "Hey, so do you do that?" And it's like, "Yeah, yeah, we do it."
So do you is that because we talked just the other day and you were talking about you're doing more junk removal. Plus, I've seen some of your posts on Facebook. Did you do anything different? Did you add anything or any advertising specific for that, or is it just now just starting kind of taking off?
So, well, I think the weather was the huge part of it that influenced it. And actually, the more I looked back at previous years, I started to realize it was a heavy winter thing. Even
Mm,
demolitions, we did more of our mobile home demos and garage demos in the wintertime. Two reasons why was I think nobody again wants to do it then. So that's when they're going to hire it out. And two, it creates a clean slate for somebody to come in when that weather's nicer.
sure.
I definitely would say that's kind of been our slow time activity. But I also looked at how many times I've turned it down in the past. which really started to bother me because I actually mark anytime an opportunity I turn away.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good habit for anybody else to get into is find a way to document the things you turn away, and then you start to realize, is this a service I could offer? Um, I know you grew into the bigger dumpsters.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the big things I always used to track was how often am I asked for a 30 or 40-yard dumpster. And I got in the habit of actually just referring that out to somebody else I have a good relationship with.
Right.
But it was so few and far between that I was like, okay, well, it's not advertised on my website, but any phone call is like, one or two every couple of weeks we got that
Mm-hmm.
for. And sometimes I could even convince them to go to a different size. But I would document all these junk removal job requests and I was turning them away like crazy. I like just absolutely like crazy. And I found the best resource to use is actually to sub out a lot of the work, but
Mm-hmm.
just provide the dumpsters. So that's kind of the direction I've been going lately.
Nice. Nice.
But
So, so even though your trucks were kind of down, you've been able to manage with the junk removal jobs. Are you just kind of like, just kind
yeah,
of fit in the truck, pulling out,
yeah,
service or
yeah. I
whatever?
mean, dumpsters are still moving. I mean, we're still renting a few a week. And nothing. It's not like at a standstill. I will say 2 or 3 days when it was like we had constant below 5 degrees or less, all the way down to -15. There was like 3 or 4 days where the phone didn't ring once, and I'm just sitting there going, hmm, how long can this weather do it? And it is
Right.
such a small amount of time, but when you're so used to it of being like this, and then all of a sudden it just comes to an absolute halt, you're like, hmm,
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
And the thing is,
But
we
again,
grow so much from the year before, right? So I don't know about you, but
yeah,
like last year, I
yeah,
think maybe I had half the cans that I have now. I had
hmm,
one truck running, so you know, every year is like it's almost like you're going through winter for the first time over and over and over again as you continue to grow because you don't know what to expect. You've got more volume. You're paying for people. You've got a driver. I don't know about you. I guarantee my guy no matter what, right? So he
yep,
goes home at
yep.
11 o'clock. He's still getting paid. So I gotta like find work for him to do.
Yeah, I have a very similar relationship with him with that too. It's like at the end of the day, will make sure he gets 40 hours a week
Right.
or darn close to it. And if it isn't because of that, it's more because he like took off early.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he's getting 4 hours a week pretty much every
Yeah.
week. But for that exact thing, it's like, well, if there's those days where we're not doing anything, it's like I still got to pay him,
Right.
and it's always worked out. But there's definitely days that I'm working for less than probably he is. But then there's other days, it balances out. Um, but yeah, it's a different stress because, like you said, I grew. But at the time, I always kind of had this fallback, job or side hustle or whatever that like if dumpsters never worked out. So last year was like kind of one of the first full bore, I'm all in, burn the bridges, I'm not going to do anything else. And so maybe that's why. I think that's honestly the thing that helped me grow my business the best was I didn't have a choice anymore. It
Yeah.
wasn't like there was no fallback.
Right. How's the
So,
equipment rental working for you right now? I mean, obviously, I'm sure right now it's probably slow. I would
oh
think, but
yeah,
how's the
absolutely
equipment rental for you?
right now, like non-existent to be honest. We're also switching insurance companies. More not because I wanted to, but because the insurance, and this is becoming a thing I think a lot of guys are seeing everywhere. Insurance companies are dropping like rocks. I mean, just like insurance companies and across all industries are falling
Hmm.
or being bought up or going bankrupt. So the company that we were using, which I'll misquote it, it was like under WRC, but that wasn't who it was. Basically, isn't they're not doing it anymore. And so I'm readjusting. I'm pausing those until. Oh, see, I was painting today. Sorry,
There you
but
go. Working hands.
uh, yeah, they're always something. We pause that, which is fine because we get very few requests when it's this cold anyway for anything rental wise. But I mean, I've been honest on my channel. We don't push that nearly enough,
Right.
but I'm not upset about it either because we get so much use out of our own equipment. It's between junk removal, um, developing the land I have, and then just other side work, tree work, brush work. I got in a habit of I would be turning people down because it's like, oh, they want to rent my machine for $500 a day, but I'm going to go tear down this garage for 4 or 5 thousand, and I need it for
Gotcha.
2 days. It's kind of like sorry.
Hmm.
So it's a balance, but at the same time, there I have like no SEO for that. The only people that come across my rental stuff either know me personally, um, or they were booking a dumpster, which I have great SEO for, and they just happened to see that the equipment was there and they followed up later. But it could definitely, for anybody who wants to get into it, it can definitely be its own business model. Like if you push it hard, it will do incredibly well.
Right. So you've got now. I've seen obviously your building. I've seen all the work you've done to your shop. Um,
Mhm.
but what I haven't seen, and I don't know if I've just missed it or maybe you haven't shown it. I don't know. Is like I'd like this like the street. How busy is your street? Is it like a 2 lane
Yeah,
highway, a 4 lane? I mean, what is it?
2 lane highway, Highway 104.
Okay.
The way this is set up though, so I live in a town of like 40, 45,000, not super big. But it's kind of weird. We are the biggest town within about 120 miles.
Mm,
And you're basically then looking at Springfield, Illinois, or you're looking at St. Louis, Missouri at that point. But then in within this 40,000, which is where I live, there are all these sub towns. Highway 104, one of those sub towns is Liberty, Illinois. So it's 15 minutes from my house.
okay.
And it's a town of like a couple thousand people. But then imagine that, but hundreds of those types of towns around us.
Gotcha.
So it's just all these little sub communities. And so my shop gets a lot of traffic. And so if my equipment sits out, the farmers are the ones who always want to rent it, which I actually love renting to the farmers. One,
What they're doing?
because they know how to use it.
Yeah.
And usually what they're using it for is digging up tile, which is minimal work. They always want to do just like dig work. They're not looking to do concrete. It's not somebody who wants to try to tear out their driveway for the first time. It's like the first time they've ever done it. So I do like renting to farmers.
Nice. Nice.
Not dumpsters though. They like to fill those with dirt.
Or manure.
It's happened.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
it has
Yeah.
happened.
And I don't know, man. The first time I went to the landfill early in the morning, and I thought it was a pile of dirt, and it had steam coming out of it, and I'm like, and it smelled like crazy. I'm like, what is that? And it took a minute to realize that it wasn't dirt, but I don't know.
Yep.
They dump early in the morning. I don't know why.
Dude,
If
those
there's a
dudes
reason
don't
for it.
sleep. They don't.
Yeah,
Don't. They don't. They're up so like every time I think I'm up early, I'm like, nah, somebody else has been at it for like 3 or 4 hours
that's right.
already, and
That's
it's
right.
always a farmer.
That's right. All right. So, how's the buildings now? You're building storage units, right? That's super cool. I'm stoked to see what's going on there.
Yes. Um,
That's actually I've looked into that market. That's a very cool, very lucrative
it
market.
is, and if you've ever had rental property, you see why it's so attractive. Self storage, especially exterior self storage, it the liability is so low because a lot of people don't realize this, you don't really insure the property for the people's stuff. You insure the property for your stuff, like
Okay.
your building. But they are in contract to provide their own insurance for the stuff in that unit. It's part of their like. It's just like if I rented an apartment to somebody, they're supposed to still get their own insurance inside of the apartment, right?
Right.
So that is one awesome part about it. And then when you're talking about like utilities, if you want, you can have power to the outside for lights, depending on like, how desolate of an area you're trying to rent in, or if it's a busy street, you might not even need power because, you got street lights right next to the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's fantastic. The ROI potential on storage buildings is awesome. And even when I went to the bank to get my loan, because I leveraged one of my other properties to do this, and the banker said, I thought we would stop doing these like 10 years ago. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you would think in a town of only 40,000 people, they would be oversaturated because just like we have a bar and a church on every corner, there's a storage unit building of sorts on every corner, but they all are filled up. If you
Mm.
call one of them right now, they'll be out of the size you want. It's inevitable. Or there'll be out of parking spaces for RVs or boats.
Mm.
Um, just like people always have trash, people are always trying to keep up with the Joneses. And Jerry Seinfeld said it really well. And this is why it goes so well with dumpsters. It had me cracking up. He's like, when you put something in storage, it's literally just the first stage of your stuff going to trash.
Mm.
He's like, because it's like you take it out of your house and you hold on to it, and then you pay someone to hold on to it at this place, and you don't see it for months, years. I mean, some guys are really disciplined, and they'll actually go get it out or whatever it's for. If it's
Right.
like an ATV or something. But it is shocking what people hold on to because they think they need it, and then years go by and they're paying $50 a month, and
Mm.
all I'm doing is providing this metal shed to keep it in.
Yep.
And yeah, so the doors got dropped off for it. I just called the company that is supposed to be delivering it, and I actually said, "Hey, where is the rest?" Because I'm
The
waiting on the
doors got
rest.
dropped off?
Yeah, so the doors got dropped off early.
Okay.
They weren't supposed to be here until everything was here, but I think the way everything shipped, if they drop the doors off separately, they can basically get the rest of it all in one trip.
So it's a company you
Just
hired.
based on my yeah.
It's a company you hired to come in and they're just basically putting it together on site.
No. So
Okay.
you can do it that way. And honestly, after this experience, I would say that's the way you want to do it.
Okay.
For the money, it would have been worth it. It would have been worth it to just hire the contractor because they have like specific contractors. Almost every company that does these buildings has specific contractors. It's just like we have a Dollar General getting built right next to us right now.
Mm-hmm.
They travel the country and they just put those up. The same contractors put those up all over the country. And that's
Right.
super ideal because they're really good at it. And it'll be up that Dollar General will probably be up in 3 days. It'll probably be up before I have my building up because I'm going to try to do it. Partially myself. I have a lot of
No.
good buddies yes. I have a lot of good buddies who are really, this is a very blue collar city. Welders, just contractors galore. But I've looked over the plans. It is definitely just a giant Lego set. A giant Lego set from hell, but just a giant Lego set. And the only part that I'm nervous about is anchoring the posts. After that, everything else is pretty straightforward. And we have all the equipment and we have all the tools to put it up. But it's like once you anchor those things into the brand new concrete and you realize you were, 3 inches off, that's the only thing I'm worried about. Everything else, we already have the concrete down. The doors are dropped. It's a matter of just putting up the metal once it shows up now.
So forgive me for my ignorance, right? Because I haven't had a very much chance to catch up and YouTube lately. So if you've
Yeah.
already talked about this, I apologize. So
No,
the
go ahead.
concrete's laid.
Concrete is laid. I have a group of guys who are really, really good at concrete. But you know what the funny thing is? I never saw them lay a pad before. I took their word for it, and I took their reputation from other acquaintances, friends. And one of the guy who basically led the project was a very good high school friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But I had never seen him actually do concrete work. I just knew that he did it well. And so I had him do it. I left all my equipment out there for him to basically do it. He's like, "Can you leave the skid and the mini out there for me and make my life really easy?" I'm like, "Sure, I don't care. Like, whatever."
Mm.
And he's like, "Then I don't have to haul anything over there. I just basically show up on the days I can work on it, and every day I'd come out and there'd be rebar down. It'd be like nice and level." When he started breaking out lasers and that kind of stuff, I was like, okay, he probably knows what he's doing, or he's really good at faking it. And then I actually did post a video of it getting put down, and the feedback from it, which is hilarious. If you've ever been on YouTube and watched a concrete channel, the amount of hate and shade and that's thrown out is incredible. Not a single guy said anything bad, and I
Oh,
documented a lot of that concrete getting put down, and it was really cool to see people be like, "Hey, like you made the right choice. These guys knew what they were doing." And yeah, I mean, I've come out since, put lasers on it. It's nice square and it's flat, and I love it.
man, I was a little worried though. I thought you were going a whole different direction with that conversation.
Oh yeah, yeah. You would think, that's kind of my MO when I try to do something like, not, I'm not going to say cheat, but I try to do it my own way. And usually that's kind of the direction it goes. It's like, oh yeah, they missed the mark by a lot. No, I mean, from what I can tell, it's going to be hard to really know until the building's here. But the dude looked at the blueprints and like he looked over them 4 or 5 times. He's like, yeah, I'm not worried about a single thing here. And I'm like,
What'd you
all
go
right.
like? Did you go like 4 inches thick, or how thick did you have to go? You know?
See, I mean, like I left that to him, but I can tell you for a fact, the center of it is, I want to say like 6 inches.
Okay.
Don't forget, we have a lot of freeze here, so like I think that has to do with a lot of it. But then the outer edge it's practically over a foot
Really?
on the outer edge because yeah,
Okay.
um, because you have your footings. So basically, the way I saw it was the footings, went all the way around, and then the center was basically, you scraped it, made it all level. But our footings were over a foot long because it has a lip too. It has essentially what I would equivalent a drip edge to on a roof. So it's like you have your footings, which are a foot, and then maybe like I don't even know, 2 inch lip. And that's what the building basically rests on, is right on that lip. So none of the water is pushing underneath of it.
When are you
So
estimating completion? Like summer?
no, I want to kind of take advantage of this time because I know once March kind of hits, based on at least previous what I'd call data from years before, even if it isn't complete,
Mm,
March it starts to speed up again. So if I could have it up by March, I'd be freaking stoked.
wow.
It was supposed to have been shipped this week. I have a feeling with the weather we've had, it'll be here next week.
And what? How many units altogether?
So this is small. This is what I'd call my test pilot. 16 total units, but they vary in sizes. There are only 10 by 15s. There's like 10 by 15s, and then six 5 by 10s. And this is also why it's really important to shop around on quality and experience. The amount of people that said I could only get 14 or 15 units was a majority of them. And this company and one other were like, oh no, we in that dimension we can fit easy 16 units. And I was like, really? And the only reason we didn't do even more was because the backside rests right up against a cornfield. Um, the only reason I'm not laying down a second pad, which was also an option, and just going right in and doing 30, was we are Midwest heavy farmer, heavy boating, heavy camping. What I'm doing is I'm kind of simultaneously, as I do that, I'm putting up a fence and I'm going to test the trailer parking. Right behind my shop is an HOA that has rules against putting any trailers there. So people always want a place to park a
Mm.
trailer. So it works out perfect. So then just today, the only restaurant in town was torn down right next to my place within a matter of 2 hours. So now if you go by my shop, it looks completely different. But since Dollar General is now getting built there, we have it in contract together that they're going to put up an 8 foot privacy fence along our entire property line with a curb. So that from then I will butt off of that fence once I know where everything's set, and that begins my chain link fence for securing the property.
Nice, nice. That's crazy. The fact that you did the DIY package is. I mean, I'm having a hard time putting in a French drain at my house. I can't imagine putting up
Stay
an
tuned.
entire storage unit building. Whatever.
Stay tuned. I mean, it could be disastrous. At the end of the
Um,
day, I will bring in guys who know what they do or know how to at least read blueprints really well, and I will be nothing more than a guide and cheap labor for them. It's funny because in situations like this, I end up being like, I work for you now. Now make it look pretty, and
yeah.
I'll do whatever you need. Like if it's literally just carrying stuff, I will do that. If it's just holding it while you put it in place, fine. I'm here to learn. And it also helps me. I felt like if I did it this way and I knew what it took, it would make it easier for me to hire somebody in the future to do it themselves. So I'm not getting taken advantage of, because this is a market where people can easily get taken advantage of. Then somebody comes in, they're like, oh yeah, the building's 30,000 and the labor is going to be 50 for us to put it in. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Have a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be nice to just kind of experience it.
So in Wisconsin, before we moved down here, the last house I lived in was like kind of outside of Milwaukee, about 40
Mhm.
minutes. I always kind of live outside the major cities. I don't like living in the city, but um, right before I moved here, they had started doing storage condos, which
Hmm.
it was like at that time, as far as I know, it was a brand I had never heard of it, and I thought it was the coolest thing. Literally, they had, I think there were 1,000 square foot units, 1,500 square foot units, and 2,000 square foot units, but they're each their own little mini building. So its
Yep.
own building, its own shop, and then next to it you had a carport
Hmm.
where you can park a boat, RV, whatever you wanted, and
So
they
they're
would
so they're basically barndo condos.
correct. Well,
Okay.
Barndo storage or
Yeah.
shops because you
Yeah.
couldn't live there, obviously, but and and they weren't rented. They would sell each individual one. So each
Yeah. Yeah.
individual one
Yeah.
was being sold,
Hmm.
and and I ever since I've always had that in the back of my mind, and that I've never seen, especially around here. I don't know. Now I've seen the ultimate garages that they sell. I don't know if you've seen those, the
Oh yeah.
luxury
Oh,
garage storage
oh,
units.
tug at my heartstrings.
Yeah,
Those are
those are
sweet.
nuts. There's actually one next to the transfer station in Dallas that it just looks cool as shit from the outside. Um, but, but yeah, the those storage units were always something I always thought about too, man.
I
So
have a lot of guys ask if I would ever rent the shop like
mm,
that I have, or if I would build a shop next to it and do exactly what you say. It's amazing how many guys want. They always say if you have a trailer or a truck lift, like you'll make friends with everybody. And unfortunately, I have like both, and so
mm-hmm,
everybody thinks they're my best friend when they need something. But it's amazing what guys will pay to have like a hobby garage, you
right.
know, and a lot of contractors need it too, like plumbers, people that like primarily could work out of their truck.
Uh-huh.
But there's just those certain things it'd be really nice for them to have a nice space. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a market for it, especially in big cities.
Yeah, the the luxury ones too, man. I still go back to those because those are so cool. But you see like those like sec 2 floor lofts and the game room on top and
Oh
pool
yeah,
tables and the bars and then they're half a million or plus cars in the bottom and they're luxury. Oh my
half
god,
a million plus. I'll have half a million in one car on the bottom if I'm living in one of those, just so I can look down at it every day. I'll be like, oh yeah,
exactly.
there's
It's
my Lamborghini.
insane. And they, oh my gosh, and you buy again. You're buying. You're not renting those. You're buying them. So the
Yeah,
place has
yeah.
literally no. But anyways, those kind of things. Having a couple acres. I mean, I don't even know how much you probably. Well, how many acres you got? Acreage, right? I mean, what? How big is your lot?
There. I mean, it's not acreage, but I think it's 2 acres. There
That's good space
is.
though.
I
Commercial,
mean,
very
it's
good
really
space.
funny. I talked to some guys. We're down at your event. They're talking about. They're like, dude, I just can't even understand how you're affording that place. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, he's like, I like that is a $2 million space in California. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, if you knew what I paid for it, you'd move right now. I mean, it's like it's just a completely different market. 2 acres around us is very attainable.
But you've turned it around though too. Like, I mean, you've done a lot of. Even if it's cosmetic, I don't know, but you've done a lot of work to the place. I mean, I know you painted
Oh
it, you've
man,
done the windows
it
or
was
whatever,
not, it
cleaned it
was
out.
not, yeah, it was not pretty at all. I and I don't want to take over here, but I'll tell you a quick thing. 2 or 3 days ago, so the Dollar General just tore down the restaurant, right?
Uh huh.
I show up to my shop. This is how I believe in almost like a fifth sense in a way. I call the gas company because it is now 5 degrees and I need to get stuff done out of the shop. I need to work on my truck. And I'm like, okay, all last year and the year before that, I rented the whole building to a private contractor
Right.
for the military. So I was like, I don't really need the space. I just use the outside space. Worked on the outside, cleaned it up, and then once I got into it, I was like, man, this is mine now. I'm not going to rent this out. Like this is an opportunity for me to grow my business and like adapt to the space. Well, it's not easy to adapt to when it's 5 degrees out. I'm just like, okay, I got to turn the gas on here, and I need to get a heater on. And so I call the gas company. I'm like, hey, could I get this turned on? They can't find it. And I'm like, how can you not find it? And has it not been on for a while? I was like, it hasn't been on for a while, but I mean, it's my name. It's got an address. I don't know what else you need. Like, well,
Mm-hmm.
can you go out and go get the gas meter number from it? I'm like, okay, I'll be out there in an hour. Pull in, and I pull into this place, and I look down. I'm like, where's my gas meter?
Oh,
And I was there the day before, and it was gone. And the Dollar General had messed up and put my address down because the property used to be owned by one person and then was split. So both gas meters were there, and they ripped mine out.
oh my
And
gosh.
so I checked my camera, and I missed the gas company by 20 minutes. They were there,
Oh,
and I called them back, and they came back. Super nice dudes, but man, oh man, they gave their secretary an earful. They were so mad because I mean they had to do it twice. And when you put a gas meter back, taking it out's one thing. When you put it back in, you're basically digging up right by the foundation, and then you're digging up by the street to test it. And oh, I was watching this whole thing. I was like, so what would this cost if I like had to have done this myself? Like, I know it's your guys' mess up, and it's kind of taken care of, but like, what would this cost? Like, it would have, yeah, it would have been a pretty unreasonable amount. I'm like,
mm,
okay. But yeah, that's just kind of the stuff that I've run into with that whole property. It's always something out there,
yeah.
but it's coming together. But it was an ugly, ugly, ugly building when I bought it.
Is it city?
So,
Are you in the city, or are you in county, or do you have to?
so it's, I mean, literally, I am the first thing when you enter the city.
So you
So it
got,
is
I mean,
like,
pull permits for everything. You have to get approval for everything that you do out there.
no, small
Mm,
time living, man.
nice.
Like, no, I mean, it's kind of nice because I actually asked that about these storage units. I was like, "Do you guys need anything from me?" And then there was a small structure there when I bought it. I was like, "Do you need anything from me when I tear this down?" They're like, "Don't let it catch on fire." And I'm like, "Okay." And that's like the mayor I talk or the president. That's how small this town is. You have a president for the town that delegates certain things,
How cool.
but yeah, it's a good space to run a company like mine where it's not in town. People aren't bugging me, but it's also a small enough town. People aren't. Um, they're actually looking out for me. I'll get messages at night like, "Hey, there's a car that I don't recognize sitting on your property," and I'm
Mm,
like, "Thanks."
very
So,
nice. Cool, man. I'm excited to see more of the. So the dimensions of the storage unit is what, the pad that you put down,
oh, so I'm gonna mess it up.
roughly. That's fine.
It's gotta be okay. I noticed. I know it's 30 feet wide. I want to say 90 by 30, but that also sounds right. Is it 120 by 30?
Or square footage. Do you know what the
Um,
square footage comes out to?
where's that book? Oh, I've got the plans. It's sitting
Oh,
over
no
there.
worries.
I'll pull it up and I'll look.
No worries.
Every time I say it, I'm off in some way because well, math's not my thing, man. So I'll sound like if somebody here will add up all of the units and go, well, he's about 1,000 square feet off, but whatever.
Right. All right. So we got somebody asking. We got some questions here. Looks like Al Warhorse saying thinking about starting a dumpster rental business in Phoenix. Rate is about $400 for 7 days for a 20 yard. Looks like you need 24 dumpsters turned 3 times to make a decent profit. Would you go franchise route? Franchise route. So we talking about like
Me building a
Redbox.
franchise? Or, yeah.
What franchise? Are there any franchises in your area?
In mine,
Yeah,
about 120 miles from me, you can buy a franchise for like a company called Junk Kings. Redbox is another one,
Redbox. Yeah,
and 1-800 Got Junk. If you want to go that route, I know that's not necessarily the same thing, but yeah, I mean there are a couple, but not near me. I don't have to really fight that other than like the big three.
yeah. Yeah, franchise. I don't know, man. I was literally looking into a business for sale not that long ago. Just because I'm always looking. I mean, I'm always on like BizBuy, Sell, whatever it is, or LoopNet. And anyways, the franchise fee was like 7%. Of your total revenue plus another three
Hmm.
percent marketing for their marketing. So you're talking about 10% on average. A decent business is
Hmm.
about 20%. Yeah, I mean, if you're running a 20% profit margin with employees and all the
You're
good stuff and
talking net.
overhead, 20% profit margin.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're taking 10% total of your top line revenue, not profit. They're
Mm.
taking 10% of top line. So franchise is a profit killer.
It is, and I'd say so. I had a guy say that once to me. It was in regards to my brother's business. He owns FedEx trucks and he works for FedEx. I'll try not to say too much about his business in any way, but he essentially works for FedEx as a contractor, and I would almost say that is the closest thing to a franchise that I can relate to,
Hmm.
that I know anything about because all their stickers are on his trucks, but he
Right.
just runs them under a different business name, right? And somebody said, I ran the numbers for this once, and it's trash because it's only 10% is what you're going to be your take home. And it's like, okay, that's a way to look at it. And to be honest, I have no idea if this guy was correct. No idea at all. My brother and I, we share a lot of info, but we're not talking about how much money is in each other's bank account. Like
Mm-hmm.
we've always got each other's back, but at the same time, we're not like, oh yeah, I'm sitting on, whatever. Um, and I said, yeah, like what did you think of that? And he's like, it's kind of funny because like, what if it's 10% and I'm bringing in like gross, 2 million a year. I'd be happy with 10% of that if I'm bringing in 10 million, 2 million a year. And I have no idea. I have no idea what it is actually that he
Right.
brings in. But it is like, and it also is like, what's your effort in it? Am I bringing in 10%, but like I get to sit at a desk and I just basically make sure nobody dies all day
Mm-hmm.
and fill out paperwork because I have a manager for everything? Or is it I'm still involved? Am I still in a truck? I would be really nervous to just go straight into a franchise with literally no real world experience before that. Like I've never driven the truck. I've never worked with the customer. That would be a I'd be more interested in creating a franchise than I would be joining somebody else's, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Well, I mean, yes, everything gets handed to you, right? The marketing should be taken care of. The processes should be in place, procedures, your handbooks, your policies, all that stuff. But I don't know. That's a good question, man. I can't answer that.
I think it depends on the person and the market. I mean,
And it also,
that's
yeah, it also depends on what you need. So for this guy saying you need 24 dumpsters to turn three times, but your expenses could be different than my expenses, could be different than his expenses. I mean, your your cost
uh-huh.
of living is a lot different in where you are than it is where I am, than it is where in California. It's just lots of variables, I would imagine.
Yeah, the variables too. And when you're in a franchise, you really need to look into because, again, back to the FedEx example, like if he rents trucks or if
Hmm.
he um, even buys trucks, certain things like are still kind of under FedEx's control. Where it's like if he rents a truck from Budget, for example, that truck is a Ford. When he needs it repaired, it has to go to the Ford dealership.
Right.
It has to go there. So it's like and those are on his rentals. When it's when it's the ones he bought, that's different. But it's like all those little nuances that you might have it in contract with your franchisee, where it's like you would think you have control over it, but you don't.
And why is that? Because they're making money on top of everything, and not just their fees. They're making money on top of everything. So if they
All
say
of it.
you have to buy your truck only from XYZ dealership, it's because they're making a cut on that truck sale.
Yeah, they're
If
scraping
we were
off
to
that.
say you can only buy your dumpsters from, Keystone Dumpsters or Keystone in Texas, it's because I'm gonna get a cut off of the dumpsters. Well, I don't. I'm just saying if I had a franchise, I would get a cut
Yeah.
off the dumpsters one way or the other that you're buying. So that 10% turns into a lot more down the road.
Oh yeah. The franchisee is making money way more than just that 10%, like you said. Yeah. I mean,
Right.
it's coming out of everything.
Andrew says, "What's up, man?"
What's up, Andrew? How's it going?
Cody says, explain the process of paying yourself under an LLC with a set pay amount weekly. How do you pay taxes on your personal income? So I don't know about you. When I had the limo company, it took me about 5 years to actually pay myself.
Hmm.
I wasn't on payroll for a long time. And then I put myself on payroll. I don't know if it was the best way, but it's the way my accountant told me to do it. I showed personal income. I didn't show I was making too much. I didn't show I was making too little, so I could still apply for loans and mortgages and houses and all that stuff. So I still had like I was making income. I didn't have to pull. I always had to pull my business anyways because it's still based on what your business did too. But um, yeah, I basically just put myself on as an employee, paid myself payroll, and I charged myself. Now you could still take a draw, right, or take pay yourself extra if you need to at the any time of the year. But that's how I did it. I don't know how you do it.
Kind of like you said at the beginning. For 5 years, I don't.
Takes a
But
while.
I mean, but the thing is, I've been doing that for and I don't see myself changing it. So I know a lot of guys will always recommend like if you're going to do like you're going to pay yourself, go make yourself a corporation. The tax
Hmm.
benefits are superior to an LLC. Then you're not worried about Schedule Ks and stuff like that. Um, if you ever look at my books in a way, at the end of the year, I better not be making really anything. I mean,
Right.
and that's how I have always done it. Even before I did dumpsters, that's how I made sure my rental property was like at the end of the year, I made sure I was depreciating everything I possibly could because I wanted to either pay nothing in taxes or I wanted to, receive like I took a loss. Again, at the end of the year, though, there is a thing you have to realize where it's like there are years it's like, well, I don't want to like make it seem like I don't make any money. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like it's all about the money you keep. So I recognize that where it's like I can only grow for so long before it's like, okay, there's no more equipment to buy or there's nowhere place to put my money. But what I end up doing is one year it always seems like I am reinvesting everything into the dumpsters, or the equipment. Like this year, I'll be probably depreciating an entire excavator so I can offset my taxes, all in one year. And then the next
Because
year, it
you have
might
the
be a truck.
option, right? You have the
Yeah.
option to do it all in one year or spread it out over 5 years, I believe it is, right?
And it is.
Um,
And then it depends if it's a piece of equipment that's being used, like a truck, a excavator, stuff like that. It's when you get into property that it's a little bit different. There is bonus depreciation that you can do on some property. That gets messy. You need the right accountant to do that kind of stuff. And right now, that's only at 80%, I believe, is the step down. I need to double check, but at the end of the day, if I'm not investing in more equipment for my business, whether I use it that much or not, like the excavator didn't get rented out a whole lot of times. Let's just be honest. I rented it out a couple times a month, or a few times a month maybe, and used it for my own stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like that was a very heavily purpose write off, and it was because I made a major mistake a year before where I sold, three pieces of property in one year, at the very end of the year. And when I tell you that I could have bought a brand new, like F-650 dump truck with what I paid in taxes that year, it was a huge humbling moment for me that like I had made a massive oversight because I had a lump sum of cash and I was about to go buy a new truck. And I luckily had talked to my accountant like 2 or 3 days before I was about to do this. And she's like, whoa, wait a second. Hold on. I just reviewed like your stuff. You sold a lot of property this year. And I'm like, and she's like, and you made quite a bit of profit. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm about to go buy a truck. She's like, not if you want to pay this off, you don't. No.
mm,
She's like, and basically the best way I can say it is IRS doesn't bring the lube. I'll tell you that. It
mhm.
was, it was rough. And yeah, and so from that point on, I never did that again, and I always made sure I was depreciating it down to the point that, I didn't have to worry about it. So
Right.
that's how I do it, and it's probably not everybody's favorite. Um, I know like a couple of my buddies who are in corps, they pay themselves like the absolute minimum, and if they need extra money, they take a draw. So exactly what you've already said.
Yeah. The game that we have to play in order to um, be in business legitimately and not end up behind bars is ridiculous. That's why, and not to talk politics, but that's why like all these rich people do what they do, and then they get blamed for not
Yeah.
showing as much income as possible. Well, nobody does. And the only time really you want to show income, and let's be just brutally honest, right? The only time I, in the history of my businesses over the years, have ever wanted to show income is when I was planning on selling the business, because that's the only
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
Now, most savvy buyers will know that hey, you deduct depreciation from all the EBITDA, all that stuff. They know that, but the only time you really want to show everything that you possibly can and be completely honest is when you're trying to sell that business for 2 to 3 years. So
Yeah.
unless that's your goal in mind to be selling in the next 3 to 5 years, you do
It's
everything
all
you
about
can.
growth.
Yep. And if you got to buy that G wagon at the end of the year, you buy that G wagon at the end of the year.
And
I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I will.
and then you slap your logo on the side of it instead of for advertising.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, everything, the funny thing is, I've talked to my wife about this a lot and like how we set up our finances. My wife, for the longest time, I mean, for a while, it was kind of like she was a resident and She made okay money, but it also came with a lot of student loans because she was a pharmacist. So what we would do is basically her job paid for her student loans for a long time, and I mean, still that's kind of how we structure it. And then now she kind of focuses on just the day to day, like the personal credit card and the house. And we strategically made sure that my name was put like separately. It's on the deed and whatnot, but in case we needed to buy another house for whatever reason, my name was separate from that. It helps spread. I call it like credit equity. Like I spread
Hmm.
that all the opportunity out as possible. Before that, we did the exact opposite way, and that's how we ended up in this house. Is before that, the duplex we were living in was only under my name. That way, and that was before I had rolled everything into my business anyway. I had bought it under an FHA loan, so I put it in my name. We like saved up together, and then bought this house. So I am very strategic now with like how I spread my credit availability out between my wife and I, and then obviously how I split my savings. But like my company card, I drive my business truck everywhere. Like I don't even have another vehicle. We have one
Yeah.
Jeep that my wife drives. That I call that the mom Jeep. But then I have,
The mall crawler.
yeah, exactly, the mall crawler.
Yeah.
And then I have two trucks. And then if I'm not in that Jeep, I'm in the two trucks. So all my fuel's written off.
Hmm.
You can write my meals all day are paid through the business, except for dinner. And even in that case, sometimes I would do that, especially if it is a business oriented dinner. Like you need to make it like you nailed it. It's like unless there's a reason for you to show a profit, like I really don't care how you do it. If you pay yourself, if you don't pay yourself, you need to make it seem like you're in just growth mode forever.
Yep. Yep.
The only other reason I would say that you would want to show a profit is if you are the breadwinner in the business. Like let's say between you and your wife, you are the breadwinner with your business. If you go to buy a house with a mortgage, you need to show profit that year.
Yep.
And you don't even really need to do it for more than a year. Honestly, more than 6 months for that matter. But you need to be able to go to the bank and be like, I'm making a profit. I would like a house loan. If you are showing a loss, it's going to be a lot harder to get a house.
Hmm.
And I was a mortgage lender, and I have a lot of friends who are blue collar oriented. I'm talking like lawn companies, stuff like that. And I helped multiple of them. And I'm like, at the beginning of this year, you have got to show money. And after that, they went back to the way they did it.
Hmm. Even with depreciation, would
Yeah.
you because you would consider that, right? Even my banker does. I mean, he sees the depreciation too, and they don't usually do they count that
So
or do they?
through the business side of it, you mean?
Yeah.
It really depends on the banker. I've seen some bankers, they are sticklers, and you know what I've noticed also is it depends on the economy. Is
Yeah.
are banks handing out loans more willingly, or are they kind of tightening the reins? I've seen it happen both ways, and don't be afraid to be told no. Anytime you're like looking for money, if you're trying to loan, the amount of times that we approved loans for first time home loans. And the first thing somebody said to me was like two other banks told me no. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, you're only within like the limits of whatever that bank allows. Every bank has like different, and even for me, I tried to get a business line of credit one place and they laughed at me. I went to another place and like with open arms, they're like, here's 50,000 line of credit. I'm like, okay, like don't be afraid to ask somebody else. Don't think just
Unsecured?
because one, what,
Was it secured or unsecured?
the line of credit.
Yeah.
What do you mean, like secured or
Did
unsecured?
they make you put up
No.
collateral? Your
Well, no, that's the funny thing. I didn't even think to ask them. It was the company that I had my equipment through, and the weird, or not my equipment. I'm sorry, my apartments through. And I don't know why I didn't even think about it. I just always saw them as the place that I got my. And it was more kind of the way I box things, you know. But they were the people that I pay my mortgage to for my properties. I never really thought to go to them for the business line of credit, but that's what made it so much easier. They're like, dude, you've got like a lot of equity in your properties, which I told the other bank, but they didn't even look at them. They're like, oh, you don't have a 2 year history with us. No, thank you. And I'm like, what? So, but then the bank I had the mortgages through, they were like, okay, yeah, I mean, you've got um, plenty of equity in these properties. Like, we can just start with 50 grand and go from there. And I'm like, no, oh, okay,
nice,
sure.
nice.
So creative financing. I highly suggest it to anybody.
Well, and relationships with bankers, right? Wells Fargo, I don't know about you, but we'll probably never do, or Bank of America. It's more like the smaller
Yep.
hometown banks slash credit unions that are more than willing usually to having a good relationship with a banker is super important in business. Super important.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most underrated things
Yep.
that new business owners don't think to do.
Well, Maxco asked about the storage side. I think we hit on that. That was a good timing. But
It's frozen right now.
Joe's on there. Maxco. Let's see here. High Speed says on my way to work this morning, I saw three tractor trailers hauling mini inner model boxes on flatbeds, clearly from DoD. Maybe think I think your storage units
I wonder if
or
that's
your
it. That,
storage or your containers. I mean,
you're talking about like the box, the Connex box type stuff.
yeah. I think that's what I
That
think
I
that's what
do.
it is.
Trying to understand what DoD units is.
Department of
Somebody enlighten.
Defense.
Oh, so it probably is Connex, but he's seeing like military style ones.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thought
cool.
about you.
Yeah,
Hey, I got that hat. I got that one of those hats downstairs. I was gonna wear. I should go grab one.
one of these.
Yeah, remember you left it in my truck that one.
Yeah.
The one time I
Yeah,
left you. We won't talk about that. Where we left,
yeah.
where I pulled off. That was
Where
kind
I
of
thought I
funny.
was gonna
I
have to
still
call
remember
an
that. That was
Uber
a
in
good
the middle
time.
of nowhere.
Huh?
I thought I was gonna have to get an Uber in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good time. So November 11th, I think November 11th this year again. November, hopefully 1 or 2 days. So if you're available, come on down, man. I'd love to have you
Just
down.
I'll put it on my calendar as soon as you're final, man. I will make it
We
a
will be
priority.
announcing it hopefully soon. Daniel the dumpster helper, what is
Hey,
up,
what's up,
man?
dude? That's
Who else
awesome.
have we got? Any questions here? We're kind of way behind. We'll speed it up. I don't want to take up your whole night, man. I know you got
Oh no, I think
dad
she's in bed.
duties.
My wife's headed to the gym, man. So you're good. Like I said, super wife's on it right now.
Always a pleasure watching these guys. I appreciate it. WC Dumpster Rentals, man. I appreciate it.
See, I recognize that one.
All right. Hey, Clayton, how much does it? I guess does it cost renting your to rent your skid steer and mini X? Increase your
Way less than I expected, which also might be why that company went bankrupt. Like I kind of said at the beginning, I want to say it was like $200 a month per machine, which
for your
does
insurance.
for the insurance for renting it out. Somebody else who has an excavator, I really don't care what size, just for comparison. Tell me what you pay per month just to own it. You know, if it caught on fire or whatever. Because I like from day one, I rented it out um, as a rental, even though I primarily am the user. I wanted that option and to cover myself. So I will know very soon if that's going to go up. Outside of that, how much did renting your skid steer and mini X? Oh, just increase your insurance. So I don't know. I don't because I don't know what it just costs to own. I don't know what that would cost. Funny enough, Josh, this just triggered me here. I saw somebody's logo pop up and I recognized it, but I don't know why. Again, a lot of you guys have followed me, and if I haven't yet, I usually do them in batches. You know, like I'll go like accept, unless you're like you seem like spam. But how often do you get on Facebook and you see an advertisement for a dumpster company, but they are 600 miles away from you, and it's not like somebody you're friends with. It's literally a dumpster company.
You mean like a paid sponsored ad or
Yes,
something?
big sponsored ad
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the time. If anybody's listening, stop doing those.
yeah.
Just they just don't work. I hope that's not the reason I recognize that guy's logo. I hope he's not running Facebook ads, and that's why I saw it. And he's just we're friends on Facebook or something.
I think
But
the marketing is. I get messages too sometimes though. I don't advertise on Facebook. I used to, and I still think it's a good idea for like retargeting. To be honest with
okay,
you,
yeah, I can agree
people
with
that come
that.
to your site. But that's
Hmm.
the only probably advertising I would do, just because it's more of a long term play. Um, but I do get messages sometimes that people see my Google ads from in different cities, and that's a problem. So I definitely
Yeah.
have tried. I don't know if it has to do with search results or whatever, but I get that a lot.
Yep. I think the only reason I stopped doing it on Facebook was it was out of control, where I was seeing or getting screenshots of my ad down in Texas, or down it. And even though I put the constraints on, like, within 20 or 30 miles of here,
Right.
and it would still do it. And I was like, I mean, I like, yeah, it says of, 500,000 or whatever people are viewing my ads, but none of them are relevant.
Right.
So then that's kind of when I really changed my strategies on the marketing. So just double check that, guys, if you run ads on Facebook.
For sure. I think this guy was talking about I guess he was talking about the Been There, Dump That franchise. Been There, Dump That
Oh,
is
okay.
also here locally. They usually run the
I've
small
not heard
trucks,
of
the
them
small ones, like they'll do like 10, 15-yard dumpsters only.
on the NPR type style trucks.
Yeah, or like the small ones, the small trucks. I just placed a can next to theirs the other day, and it was so small. It was I probably could have fit two and a half of his cans in my 30. It was kind of funny,
Oh
but
man, that is small. Holy crap!
to each their own. There's a lot of customers that use those, so I'm not knocking them at all. But
It's all about your niche,
yep, yep. All right, they have been number one listing on Google My Business for dumpster rental in Phoenix. So yeah, probably the been there,
paid
done
or
that.
unpaid.
I don't know. Well, Google My Business would be unpaid usually.
Well, you can
Profile,
run
you
a
can sponsor
sponsored
them.
ad there,
Yep,
yeah, and
yep.
that's kind of a new feature because for the longest time I was number one, and then this guy in a town 20 minutes away started running ads above it, and I kind of made me mad. But at the same time, I'm like, well,
Gotcha.
whatever, it's
He's paying for it.
sponsored. Yeah, exactly. He's paying for it. He's paying for that spot. And honestly, I was impressed. I was actually very impressed with the way he did it because I was like, you know what? If I were him, that's exactly what I do. Why would I run a sponsored ad in the town I'm already number one in? Why wouldn't I run a sponsored ad in the town right next door and start
Mm.
taking that business too? So I was like, yeah, if you're already killing it in your own space and you need to branch over, that's the way you should be running your ads on Google. I kind of took a page out of his book after that, but I liked it.
Now you're in his town, maybe.
Maybe.
There you go. I love it. What's up, fellas? Been negotiating industrial contract for dumpsters.
Negotiating
Negotiating
industrial
industrial
contract.
contract.
Does that mean he's targeting commercial jobs, like industrial commercial jobs?
No, I don't know. Explain that a little bit, intro. Let's see here. Does the 24 dumpsters turning three times seems like this is too small? Kind of small
No,
for
no.
me.
I took my glasses off.
Seems like one, two,
Do
three.
you want to hit with 400 average per with 400 average? Is that 400 cost average or 400 per year?
I
What is?
think
Oh,
cost.
I guess in cost. Yeah.
Because you were saying
Uh,
earlier, $400 per dumpster for 20 yard. I mean,
Man, driver is like 20,000 a month and expensive.
well, I did the numbers a minute ago. I think it was something like $400.
Is 400 is that his gross 400?
400 gross. Yeah, so it's $400 times what was it? 20. What did I do the
So
numbers
he's
here?
doing 24
Whatever it came
times.
out to, I did 28,800 is what my total based on his numbers per month. And then you're looking. I mean, yeah, probably looking at least 20 G's of
Yeah, I
expenses.
mean, so wait, so he's got 20 G's in monthly expenses on that, but he's only got what was the number you got? I'm sorry.
28.8.
Okay, yeah,
28,800
that's
total
for
top
his
line revenue.
gross, right?
Yep, gross.
Okay, but then he says that his driver expenses are 20,000, right?
Correct.
That's a lot. I mean, the numbers make sense what he said, but I can tell you, you don't need 24 dumpsters to do 28,000 in revenue
Bingo.
as um, personal experience. I'll just say that. I won't go into detail on what our numbers are, but they're higher than that with way less dumpsters.
Yeah.
Turnover is amazing.
What is your average rent? What do you rent them? How long?
So I don't go over 7 days, and I am incredibly like stiff on that one. A lot of guys like will if they're slow. Anytime I learned the hard way. Every time that I fucking did, and it ended up being like a 2 or 3 week dumpster that somebody would take, I was turning away two or three more people, like within hours, it seemed like, after I put that can down. Where then I'm maxed out on dumpsters and again, that's an inventory problem there. I should have more cans, right? But that's going to be an inevitable always going to happen type of thing if I continue to let that loose thing happen. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do long-term rentals. This is just kind of my internal rule, as I have a light inventory. But I don't do more than 7 days. If they want it longer, they usually pay for another week.
Is your average
Uh,
7 days then? Is that, I mean, or do you do like one,
no,
3 days?
the 3 day ones go out like crazy, and that's
Okay,
why my turnover is so high. And
right.
I think it's the way I kind of sell it on the phone. I've started to realize how much that actually influences it. So I'm like, yeah, our 14 yards are probably our most common. And our crowd favorite, no matter the size, seems to be the 3 day, whether you're doing it on Wednesday and you want it picked, or Tuesday and you want it picked up by Friday before the weekend, or if you want it on Friday and you want it picked up right after the weekend. Like my sales voice just like takes off and I start talking without even like, it's become so habitable or repeatable. So yeah, that's probably the reason. Like the 3 days just go like crazy. So 10 dumpsters, average 3 days. You can do the math there. And some of those, very often, they rent them 3 days. The second day, they call me and they said it's ready to go, and all of a sudden, I'm renting it a day early.
Is your
So
extra day price pretty high to kind of incentivize people to like, hey,
don't
don't
do that.
don't do that. Yeah, keep it 33 days or keep it 3 days and that's it. Like you get a
Yep.
high.
I got to look at which one it is, but it's between like $50 and $75. And I'll be honest, I rarely have to end. Like a lot of guys are like, oh, like I only do $25 a day. I'm like, no wonder they keep it forever.
Hmm.
Like at $50 a day, you start renting it. All of a sudden, they're on like their 14th day. They just basically they nearly it's not the same, but they nearly paid for another full week of a dumpster, right? And then I hit them with the tonnage, and then they go, well, that sucked. It's like, yeah, that's why we don't do that.
Right.
So, but some don't care. I've had contractors before where we had an arrangement contract and everything that if they kept it longer than a week, it just immediately went to a 1 week, another 1 week. Like that Monday, I would send them an invoice for another week, and
Hmm.
they did not care. I had one dumpster sit for, and it would just bug the shit out of me. It sat for like a month and a half,
Is that Walmart
and
one? Wasn't didn't you have a
no,
Walmart one where they overfilled it?
no. The Home Depot. Yeah,
Okay.
that was the one.
Home
That
Depot.
was the one. So they paid it for a month and a half. That was the most expensive dumpster that I think I've ever charged for a single use. Was they paid for it for a month and a half, and I literally sat there not being used. Not a single thing had been dropped into it until like the last 3 days or 4 days or whatever it was. And then then that whole ordeal that you might have seen unfolded, and they paid like thousands of dollars for a concrete dumpster that they could have just that was just a sad ordeal. But yeah, that one used to drive me nuts. I drive by it, but then I got over it because I'm like, okay, well, it was in their contract. They are literally paying per week for this dumpster at a full price.
Right.
Whatever,
Right.
that's their money to blow, and they were a big enough company they didn't care. And I've had a couple of those, and that's pretty much the only exception I'll make. Otherwise, if somebody goes over by a day, I'm pretty lenient. I'll be honest. If they're like, "Hey, I just need it till the morning," I'm like, "Okay." Normally that's kind of like my upsell. Normally we charge you extra, but we it's flexible. It's only when I'm actually like stressed and like I really needed that dumpster that I'm like, okay, $50,
Hmm.
or 75, what I did, just depending on the size.
Yep. High speed asked about more in depth video about basically numbers, and I'll be honest with you, I am not your guy. I think it's very risky to be putting out there like information like that, advice
Yep.
even. Um,
I feel like we put out a lot already that's puts us, in the crosshairs
yeah,
sometimes.
I have to put a disclaimer after the end of every video, like this is for entertainment purposes only. But no, so the plan is hopefully if the event, if we when we do our next showcase in November, I want to do workshops, and the idea is to have people that are experts in their fields actually hold workshops that you can go to or you don't have to go to. One of them is going to be an accountant or some sort of bookkeeper that really kind of shows us how to look at our numbers the right way. Another one's going to be possibly, and this is actually John's idea, was to do like a DOT officer to come in and talk to us about what exactly they look for, inspections, all that
Yeah,
stuff. Maybe even a
that's not a bad idea.
in-person walk around of a truck to see like any kind of violations, things like that. So
There's like
stay
a
tuned for
viral
that kind of.
YouTuber you guys should find.
Was
There's a
that
viral YouTuber that's a DOT officer, and he's got a super good reputation. You should find
really?
him. I want to say he's in Oklahoma. I don't remember, but he's like well respected, which is kind of funny to say well respected and a DOT officer in the
Right,
same
right.
sentence. But he's like, I'm not gonna say he's lenient, but he takes a lot of opportunities to like make a teaching video, and then like you see him be like, all right, guys, fix it and just get on the road, rather than like ruining their life. But he hangs out at a way station or near it, and then he does. I mean, if somebody can come in and literally make a video with it, I've seen multiple occasions. But I want to say he's in Oklahoma, so not far from you at all.
And when you say he's viral, he's got his own channel, or he just went viral because somebody else posted a video about him.
I think a little bit of both. I think so I think what happened is somebody made him go viral
Mm,
with a video where he was exactly what I said, basically like showing them the right way rather than ruining them. And then I think his department started putting out like more informational videos where he became the face of it. And somebody, if
gotcha.
you know what I'm talking about, drop what state it is because I could be way off. But I thought it was Oklahoma.
I'd love to have him on the channel, man. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
yours.
and even if,
It's your
like,
idea, but
no, no, your event, I think, like you said, would also be like
yeah,
perfect for it too. I mean, it might be a stretch to get him to come to something like that, but I mean, if especially not his state, because obviously those regulations, even though it's federally regulated, each state has its own little
yeah,
piece of which just complicates the water even more. But that's a great idea. I love that.
yeah. Brewster's, Bins and Transport. I truly appreciate your comment, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Dana, what is up, brother? Appreciate you being on.
Dude,
He's an OG.
oh, he is, dude. I always appreciate his comments.
I think so. Uh, do you need to show profit on a P&L statement? We'll go through some last minute questions and speed through, and we'll be done here. P&L. Do you know about an SBA loan? I've never taken an SBA loan out.
I haven't. I know others that have, but we've never really gotten to that conversation with them. I'm going to say that if you don't have to show profit, you better have a good, like, what is it called? A plan that to go to them with.
Say again.
I think you better have a good business plan if
Oh
they
yeah.
don't require that. I mean, that would be a bare minimum I can imagine.
He says, Backroad Bounce says Meta report earnings are next week. They're going to make a killing off all these guys running those ads across the country.
Sad fact. You're probably right.
Logo popped up in American AF Dumpster's most recent short from where I commented in last week's live.
Oh, that's cool.
Pretty cool.
Didn't know that
I
was
don't
a
know.
thing.
What was my last short? I think that was BTE, wasn't it? I'm not sure. Let's see here. Backroad said he keeps seeing me in Shreveport Google. I think he's talking about me. Shreveport. Actually, I just put Shreveport as a negative keyword, like literally 3 days ago on Google Ads.
Good
So we'll see.
strategy.
Hopefully, it should stop. Anything else you see?
Dude, I didn't even know I could see them. I can't see the comments. You're bringing them up as they happen.
Oh, I think there's a ton in here. Do you include tonnage or is it extra in your prices? Watch Same Day's video the other day about this. Do you include tonnage?
I include 1 ton. I'm still kind of on that model. I know guys do pounds. Oh, I do see them. I had it scroll down. It's in the corner.
There you go. Little
Dang,
button,
that's
I believe.
cool. Yeah. I include 1 ton. I don't do it by the pound or anything. It just works really well in my area. The way, and I really stress the fact that we basically prorate. So a lot of guys do the pound, which I just basically figured out is basically you don't round up. It's essentially the same thing in the prorate. We have guys around here that as soon as you hit like 1.02 tons, like, oh yeah, guess what? We're going to charge you for 2 tons. So that they kind of make it easy for me. I'm just like, oh no, we'll prorate it. If you're 0.02 tons, you might owe $10 more or whatever it is. So
This is an interesting topic, and I actually wanted to make a video on this. Well, probably not a video, but now that you bring it up, Isaac, question is about overages. So I tested out overages this winter based on being slow. I wanted to test the market, at least in my area. Again, everybody's area is different. That's why when you see somebody talk about things on the internet, you've got to really take into consideration everything, not just one person's opinion, and mine included, right? Because it's what may work here may not work for you. So I tried. I do include tonnage in all of my dumpsters. And I texted my daughter to come up here. Say hi. Oh, other way. No, other way. Where's it at? Where are you? There you
She's
go.
not there.
So
Oh.
Alexis answers my phone calls, and we were talking about tonnage, and this question came up about tonnage, and just so that people know, I'm not making things up. When we changed our pricing over this winter to not include tonnage, what was the number one thing problem that we kept having?
That people's credit cards would not go through when we picked them up and tried to charge the tonnage.
So we were doing a 299 any dumpster or 299 special, just to test out the market here, and no tonnage was included. So their credit card worked fine when we
For the
charged their
first payment.
for the first payment. When we would go pick it up a week later or whatever it is and go dump it, and to then charge the tonnage, or the credit cards would decline. And I mean, we still got how many people that owe us?
I think
You
just
guys
Please
figure.
don't say more than like three. Please don't say more than three.
no, I don't think it's more than three. I
Oh,
think it's
thank
like
God.
Two people.
I think it's like
Do you
two
get to
But how
track
many
down a
people did we
couple
have
of
to
them?
fight to try and get the money?
a lot.
Like
That's ridiculous.
there was probably uh, at least 6 or 7 that declined, right? I would
There's
say.
probably more than that decline. Some of them were nice when you would call them and be like, "Hey, you owe like 350." Some of them would be like, "Okay," and then others would be like, "Why?" and try to
Yeah,
fight
that's my
it.
favorite. The play dumbs.
Yeah.
So that's just here, but not saying that won't work somewhere else. It's just I didn't feel like playing bill collector, and what did we? How long did we test it for? Like not even a
Not
month.
even a month.
Not even a
No.
month. So we gave up. We gave up doing that.
That's not. Yeah, that would make me queasy. That's just
Thank
not
you.
even. That's not fun.
I literally commented on that.
Say hi to the channel. You commented in here?
That was me.
Oh, you said yo
And
yo
then you
yo.
texted me right after I had.
Oh, I didn't see that. I haven't gotten there
I
yet.
was like, "Where's the odds?"
It
that
says
you
yo yo yo.
texted me?
So yeah,
Okay, bye.
thank you. So I wanted to just hear it from. She answers most of my calls, and she deals with the customers. If somebody has a call and like strong arm somebody and say, "Hey, you owe money," and then it's usually me because she's too nice yet. She hasn't. She's too young.
That's really nice. Yeah, I mean that you only have to really step in when it's a problem. I need to figure that life out. I am glued to my phone.
Well,
That's
just
awesome.
wait. I mean, your daughter will get there, but you got to wait about. You got to put in some time, brother. You got to put in some time.
18 more years.
18, 19. Well, she's turning 20 on
Oh
Monday.
man, that's a
So
long way.
yeah.
So one of you guys come and buy me out by then.
At Trucking Wins, retired 20-year DOT officer. That sound about right? The Trucking Wins.
Trucking wins. I'm gonna look it up, but that could be it. I don't want to leave the screen, but I will double check, Josh. I'll get back to you. I bet you that could be it. He's definitely been on the force wire.
Yep. All right, we're gonna end it because it's getting late, man, and I've got a bedtime. But ever had a union try to push you out of a job they wanted to be fully unionized? I've never had one.
I don't think I've ever had to really worry about that. Sorry, I'm flying through. Now that I see these messages, I'm looking at them. That's so cool how that was there. I feel like a fool.
It's pretty neat.
I like
Probably
that.
using prepaid cards. Yeah, Backroad. Prepaid cards. Some people. I had one guy, a contractor, so he knew what he was doing. That's the other thing. This guy knew what he was doing because he was avoiding our phone calls, and then I finally got a hold of him. I called him from my personal cell phone number. Good thing is I have all my phone calls recorded. So even if I call him from my personal number, it's recorded somehow through Wix. But anyways,
Oh, that's
uh,
cool.
I did call him from a different number. He answered, and he's like, "Oh, let me go ahead and turn it on because I guess he can only he has to tell him how much it is, and he goes in and he authorizes it somehow, or he opens it up so people can charge. So you can tell he's that kind of guy who apparently, you know, holds on to every single penny he can until he absolutely has to pay for it. So
That drive me nuts.
I also have two. Check this out. I have two. I haven't made. I'm gonna make a video on this probably, but I've got two cans sitting at a 1.5 million dollar property. They've been on the channel before because I have done probably 20 to 25 dumpsters on this property. It's one where If for those of you guys watching, it's one where I literally drove over this makeshift bridge to get onto their property. It's like their own bridge on their land,
Or like
which
on
had me,
like over like a little canal or something.
yeah, super sketch, right? But it was solid. But it creaked. And Alexa went with me one time, and she literally refused to ride in the truck. So she hopped out, waited for me to cross, and then she ran across to make sure I made it okay. But
Oh, God.
but I've got two dumpsters sitting there, and they've been sitting for over a month and a half because they don't. The guy passed away. The guy who was remodeling the house passed away. The homeowner, his wife has it. She doesn't want to pay for any of the overages. I didn't find out until weeks after we were like, "Hey, what's going on with the can?" Nobody would call. Nobody would answer. I actually drove
So
over there to
those
the
are
house
just
to figure
sitting
out,
there.
huh? And they're just sitting there full as ever. Every single can has been over like 3 tons. They've been super heavy, or not super heavy, but really heavy.
So wait, how many cans are they behind paying for plus the two sitting there?
No, everything's been paid up to date other than the two
Except for the
cans.
two. Okay.
Granted, the guy passed away. I could probably, but they've been sitting there. I mean, I've got a $2,500 bill, give or take, right now at this point with all the overages per. No, I think both of them, because I only charge $20 a day for a 20 yard.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's
but
fair.
two cans, $20 a day. Plus, I'm sure they're going to be heavy because they're going to go over their tonnage. So,
Have they
um,
been rained on a few times too?
oh yeah, it's been raining nonstop, cats and dogs over here. So,
Yeah, I bet you
um,
that she's only going to get like more unreasonable too as it sits there. That's the worst part.
and so the thing is, I either eat it and just go over there and grab it, guy, and then dump it and just move on. I don't really need the cans right now. Luckily, it's a slow time, so they're kind of just sitting there. If and shit, they're saying they're going to probate with the lawyers and all that stuff, and I'm giving them a little bit of time.
She wants you to be in good faith. She wants you to pick it up, drop it off, and then she's going to tell you that it'll get taken care of after everything goes through probate, through the lawyer, and then you'll get paid.
Well, she tried that, and now I don't think she really cares one way or the other if they sit at the house or
Yeah.
not. So, because I don't really know if they live there. I mean, when I went there, she was there. But everything was empty. I didn't see very much furniture, so I don't know. But
Yeah.
like I said, it is a 1.2, $1.5 million house. I mean, it's a nice house, nice area.
Oh,
That's
that stuff just gets me, and that
that's
really makes me mad.
yeah. But so if I go do a contractor's lien, I'm sure I'd get it eventually. Anyways, long story short, but it is what it is. But
That'd be awful.
so you're good with Docket. Docket's working out. Did Docket create you a website? Is your website up yet from Docket or no?
No, oh, so okay, so I did go with Docket, and Docket has been they've been great to me. They have been awesome. They have walked me through, held my hand, and everything works as it should, and customize a lot of stuff too because you know, they made it so my equipment can be rented on there. They made
Right.
it so dumpster bags. They made it so my storage, my mobile units too, like the Connex boxes,
Uh
can
huh.
be rented through there and everything. So
Really?
super cool. Yeah. So if you actually go to my website and hit book online, like it pops. The coolest thing I like is it then pops up every option I have for rental. I took equipment off right now as that insurance thing goes,
Sure.
but like I can turn one flip of a switch and all of a sudden all my equipment's back up. So very cool how they set it up. Different contracts for each one. Blah blah blah. They said that they could do the website, and I reluctantly, because I actually really like a lot of their website templates, but I said no, only because after years of tinkering with my website and doing it the way I've done it, one, people are accustomed to it, and there's a lot of things about my website I don't like. It's image based, it's heavy image based, but it is. I like how all the prices and stuff are up front. But now, after like 2 years of this, I am somehow in Quincy, Illinois, number one if you search dumpster rentals, Quincy, Illinois, organically. And not just like in Google My Business, like organically, first thing under that is my name. And I'm
Yep.
like, I told Doc, and I was like, hey, no disrespect, don't touch my website.
Yep.
I just want your plugin. And they were like, totally get it. Like, no, you're no offense. So I was like, okay. So, but then when I basically, since their plugins is just essentially a link. It was flawless. I took everything else off my site that was, and anything I took off my site was all, calendar and booking software, which was a plugin as well. So it affected my website no way, and I'm still number one on the dumpster stuff.
Well, Can I give you a little piece of advice?
Hit me.
All right. So with Google, it's just like real estate, right? I mean, the more
Yeah.
places you are, the more you'll make eventually, right? So my opinion
Yeah.
is, well, eventually, but my opinion would be if Docket was willing or is willing to make you a website, right? Just buy another
Hmm.
domain. All you gotta do is buy another domain. They control that website. They can promote that website. That website hopefully will rank, and then hopefully you'll have it down the road to websites, and it doesn't affect you, right? You can call it whatever you want.
No, it all would backlink to the same place.
Well, yeah, be careful with the backlinks, right? For sure. But it all goes phone numbers. I would get a different phone number too, like
A
a
Google number.
Google number or something like that. But it'd be two different websites. They would rank differently. They could hopefully both rank on the top 10, and it's just
Well,
another
not
piece
only
of real
that, like
estate on the
having
internet.
two of them, it's like since the plugin basically acts independently from the website, yeah, nobody could overbook because either one would show the
Go to your
inventory
you
as.
go to your software. Yeah, man.
I
Take the free
appreciate that.
stuff and get
Yeah.
another domain. So I
Yeah.
own
That's.
AmericanaFdumpsters.com. And I
Hmm.
also bought, just because I got it offered it really cheap on an email. You know how we get those? I don't know if you do, but I get them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got offered today. Roll off dumpsters Quincy or something like that. Like something really simple.
I bought dumpstersdallas.com, even though I would rather be DallasDumpsters.com, but I bought dumpstersdallas.com, two very good keywords.
Hmm.
And I've got a separate website on there now by the Magnate guys who built me a website. So
That is I like that. I appreciate that
there you
insight,
go.
dude. That's a good one. I'm gonna be making a phone call tomorrow.
There you go. All right, with that, dude, I appreciate you jumping on the live at the last second. You are a trooper. You are a awesome
No
dude.
worries.
I really do appreciate you, man. I'm sure the channel
I'll
does
tell you.
too,
I'll
man.
tell my wife. You said that.
She's a
She's like,
superstar.
oh, yeah. She's like, oh, you're gonna go now
Yeah.
for right at her bedtime. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. See ya.
No, it's all good, man. I appreciate it. But thanks again. And I see some comments in here that were addressed. If I missed anything, guys, feel free to message me. I know most of these were sent to you, Josh. But dude, yeah, I appreciate you even thinking of me to bring me on. It's always a good time.
Yep, definitely. I'm gonna put this right up here so I can save it because sometimes they don't come over, and I'm gonna look into this. I appreciate it, Antrell. I will look into that. I do have the email of the probate lawyer that I had them send me as proof, so I
Ooh,
might reach out to
that's
them.
cool.
So, anyways, guys, as always, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, head on over. I mean, obviously, at this point, Mr. Clayton here has a huge YouTube channel. But if you're not already following him, which I'm sure you guys already are, make sure you head over to Rolling Ops Clayton's channel. Give him a like, subscribe, and smash on his notification bell.
Josh will always be the
And
OG.
I
So
appreciate you guys, man. We will see you later, brother. Thanks again, man, for coming on the channel.
yeah, anytime, man. You just keep me posted, and I hope to see you down in Texas here soon.
Yes, sir. I'll be in Nashville next week if you want to swing down, man. It's a
I,
DRS event, but you are more than welcome. Come on down, man.
a DRS event. I
Yeah,
might get
yeah.
in trouble
But
for
you can definitely come on down.
that.
Nah, nah. We tell.
I think I'll be down. I'll check what date that is because I think I'll be down in Nashville for a bachelor party.
Oh heck yeah, that'd be
But
pretty cool.
probably two things we shouldn't mix: business and bachelors. I'll tell you that.
I mean, I haven't been a bachelor for over 20 years, but uh, you never know. We'll see you,
Yeah,
man.
you can let loose one night with us.
Absolutely. Thanks again,
Later,
brother.
dude. Have a good one.
We'll see you.
Bye bye.